Hello and welcome to yet another League Start video, this time for 327 Keepers of the Flame. We are, of course, redoing the same build that I did last league in 326, which is the Impale Sweep Slayer. Now, this build, you started quite cheaply. You have the video here that shows how it's being played, and the build starts with, in campaign, in basically Act 7, around level 50-51, if you have a Chaos Orb, and now with Asynchronous Trade, go to the trade, grab a Terminus Est, and you'll be golden. That's basically what the build starts with. Then, later on, we can go with both Suppression gear, with both Armor gear, and the gear can go all the way up to Uber bosses. I've killed Uber bosses on this build that you see in the showcase. This was up to 20 divine build. Now the prices will vary on League Start, yada yada, everyone knows the drill, but this is how it performs. What do I like to run with this build? I like to run Legion, I like to run Breach, now that the Breach is revamped. Obviously, that's what I want to do. This map was not the best showcase, so sorry for that. It's been a while. But anyways, and I like to run Shrines. You will see here in a few seconds that when you pick up an AoE shrine, everything just goes kaboom, which is absolutely phenomenal. Now, to go into the pros and cons of the build, big pro is it has very good damage, very good survivability. It is very easy to build, especially in the POB. If you follow along the POB where you, in the bottom section, you can choose actually white map suppression on tree, suppression gear. The POB hasn't changed, nothing really changed from 327, so feel free to use the same thing. And you have like the gear sets and everything. Everything is set up as per usual. Notes are there. Enjoy it all. The big pro is a lot of defense. The big con is it's an Impale build, so the damage takes a little bit to begin. So before you get your Impale stacks in, but to not bother you all with all that unnecessary fluff, here's the video. It will be in the description. That's all there is to it. Now let's talk about the other thing that I wanted to do with a Slayer, and that is, so this is the Impale Sweep. Now that is the Starcaller Cyclone. Starcaller is also another build that I wanted to do, however, I couldn't League start it, and unfortunately, I didn't have the time to make the entire Cyclone Slayer, maybe even with Shockwave. I don't really like Shockwave, because you would go into Elemental later, and Shockwave is like mostly for physical. But here is how it plays. So I would have made that instead, but because I was working on the website, that I will show in a second, I didn't have the time, nor like it's just going to take a lot of time, and there's also one more video I need to make. So without further ado, let me just show it to you. This is the website. This is how it looks now. Feel free. I have a big screen, so it's going to look a little bit better probably on your screens. So if you want to find any of the information, feel free to click the appropriate boxes. For builds, we have builds here. So Slayer is there, Slayer, Impale Sweep, and you have the Starcaller Axe Cyclone. Feel free to use both. Any of those that are in 326, they're working in 327, so feel free to use that. If you need a campaign guide, there's a full-blown campaign guide with all the acts and the written things down below, so feel free to use that one. I'm not gonna pester you anymore. That is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for giving me your time of day, returning to PoE. There will be more guides, not build guides in the beginning, but PoE for Dummies is getting a revamp and update, so pay attention to that. Thank you once again for watching. Hit the like button if you did like the video, and I will see you in the next PoE video or stream. Have a good one.